This is the recording of my learner from grade 6.
Becoming Friends with a Bully by Maria Melanie L. Paduhinag. Ha ha ha, look, here comes boy who walks with a lamp. Ha ha ha, said Romeo while lying out loud. Boy is a great six pupil who despite his disability still goes to school. His classmates and schoolmates always bully him, but the just ignores them. Boy and Romeo are not only classmates but also neighbors. One day, Boy was on his way home reading on his old and almost worn out skateboard. He saw Romeo walking ahead of him, that wanting Romeo to notice that he was behind him. Boy just quietly followed him. When they reached an isolated area, Romeo noticed that Boy was behind him. "Oh boy, do you want race with me?" he shouted while crossing the street. In an instant, a speedy motorcycle came from nowhere and hit Romeo with just a blink of an eye. Boy saw Romeo fall on the ground while the river immediately filled. After seeing Romeo knocked down, Boy hurriedly went to check on Romeo's blood dripping on Romeo's face with wounds and bruises in his arms and legs. "Romeo, are you okay?" asked Boy pitifully. "Who, I feel dizzy. I can't move my arms and legs," answered Romeo. "Don't worry, Romeo. I called my mother to inform your parents about what happened to you," said Boy worriedly. After a few minutes later, an ambulance came with Romeo's parents. He was right away brought to the hospital right away. After a week, Boy was surprised to see Romeo knocking on their door. "Boy, I am here to thank you. If not for you, my parents might not be able to come straight away. I owe you my life," Romeo said shamefully. "You're welcome, Romeo. It is my duty to help others who are in need. I am glad that I was able to help you," answered Boy. "I also want to say sorry for not treating you right and always making fun of you. In spite of everything I did to you, you did not hesitate to lend your helping hand to me. I'm really sorry. I hope you could forgive me," Romeo said softly. "It's okay, Romeo. I accept your apology," answered Boy gladly. "I promise I won't bully you anymore. From now on, I will be the one to defend you," friends said. Romeo sincerely. "Friends," Boy replied gladly. "But the way before I forget, I brought you something," Romeo said. "Oh, wow. Is this for me?" "Thank you so much, Romeo. This means a lot to me," Boy said tearfully. "I know that you have a hard time reading on your old skateboard, so I decided to withdraw some amount from the savings account of this new one. I hope that his could somehow help you, said Romeo. Yes, this is really a big help to me, answered boy. Come, let's go out and watch the sun set today, said Romeo joyfully. Becoming Friends with a Bully by Maria Melanie L. Padohinog. Ha ha ha, look, here comes boy who walks.
The learner mispronounced the word walks as walks.
With a lamp. Ha ha ha.
The learner substituted the word limp with lamp.
He said Romeo while lying out loud.
The learner mispronounced the word tist as said and said load instead of loud.
Boy is a great six pupil who, despite his disabilities,
The learner said disabilities instead of disability.
still goes to school. His classmates and schoolmates all
The learner initially said classmate, omitting
always bully him, but the just ignores them.
The learner substituted the word he with the and mispronounced the word ignores as ignores.
Boy and Romeo are not only classmates,
For the second time, the learner said classmate, omitting
but also neighbors.
The learner said neighbors, which attempts to say neighbors.
One day, boy was on his way home reading on his own, and
The learner mispronounced the word riding as reading.
an almost worn out skateboard. He saw Romeo walking ahead of him.
The learner once again mispronounced the word walking as walking.
Not wanting Romeo to nice.
The learner said when, then wanting. Notice was mispronounced as nice.
That he was behind him, boy just quillity followed him.
The learner said quillity, which attempts to say quietly, and said flowe, then corrected it on her second attempt.
When they reached an isolated area,
The learner mispronounced rich as reached and substituted an with and said isolated instead of isolated.
Romeo noticed that boy was behind him.
The learner initially said naside, which attempts to say noticed.
Oh boy, do you want race with me?
She omitted to.
He shouted while crossing the street. In an instant, a speedy motorcycle came from nowhere and hit Romeo.
The learner initially said come and said form instead of from.
With just a blink of an eye, boy saw Romeo fall on the ground while the river immediately filled up.
The learner initially said river and mispronounced the word immediately as immediately and said filled instead of fled.
After seeing Romeo knocked down,
The learner said knocked, which attempts to say knocked.
boy hurriedly went to check on Romeo.
The learner mispronounced hurriedly as hurriedly.
Blood dripping on Romeo's face.
The learner omitted the words he and saw and initially said blonde.
With wound and bruises in his arms and legs.
The learner initially said in instead of on.
Romeo, are you okay? I scared boy pitifully.
She mispronounced the word ask as asked.
Who I feel this sea, I can't move my arms and legs, answered.
The learner mispronounced the word answered as answered.
Romeo, don't worry, Romeo. I called my mother to inform your parents
The learner dropped the will in the contraction word aisle.
about what happened to you,
The learner said happened.
said boy worriedly
The learner said sighed instead of said, and mispronounced the word worriedly as worriedly.
after a few minutes later. An ambulance came
The learner initially said come.
with Romeo's parents. He was right away brought to the hospital right away.
The learner mispronounced the word brought and said brought. She said ow and corrected it on her second attempt.
After a week, boy was surprised
The learner initially said surprised.
to see Romeo knocking on their door.
For the second time, the learner mispronounced the word knocking as cocking.
Boy, I am here to thank you. If not for you, my parents might not be able to come straight away. I owe you my life, Romeo said shamefully. You're welcome, Romeo.
For the second time, the learner mispronounced the word said as sighed.
It is my duty to help others
The learner repeated the first syllable in the word duty.
who are I need.
The learner said I instead of in.
I am glad that I was able to help you,
The learner initially said glad instead of glad.
answered boy.
For the second time, the learner mispronounced the word answered as answered.
I also want to say sorry for not treating you right and always making fun of you
The learner said found instead of fun.
in spite of everything I need to you.
The learner substituted the word did with need.
You did not hesitate to lend
The learner said hesitate instead of hesitate.
your helping hand to me. I'm really sorry.
The learner said rarely instead of really.
I hope you could forgive me.
Not only the learner mispronounced the word could, she also inserted be between could and forgive.
Romeo said softly.
The learner said softly, which attempts to say humbly.
It's okay, Romeo. I accept your apology.
The learner said then accept.
Absurd boy gladly.
For the second time, the learner said answered instead of answered, and gladly instead of gladly.
I promise I won't bully you anymore. No,
The learner mispronounced the word now as no.
on I will be the one to defend. You friend said Romeo sincerely.
For the third time, the learner mispronounced the word said as sighed, and mispronounced sincerely as sincerely.
Friends boy replied gladly.
The learner said replied instead of replied, and for the second time, she mispronounced the word gladly with gladly.
But the
The learner initially said but instead of by.
way before I forget, I brought you something, Romeo said.
For the second time, the learner mispronounced the word brought as brought.
Oh, wow. Is this for me? Thank you so much, Romeo. This means a lot to me, boy said tearfully. I know that you have a hard time reading on your old skateboards.
For the second time, the learner mispronounced the word riding as reading.
So I decided
The learner said decided instead of decided.
withdraw some amount from the savings account.
The learner substituted the word my with the.
Of you. This new one,
Not only substituted the word to with of, the learner also omitted the word by.
I hope that his call somehow help you.
For the second time, the learner mispronounced the word could as cold.
Said Romeo, yes.
For the third time, the learner mispronounced the word said as side.
This really a big help to me, answered boy.
For the fourth time, the learner mispronounced the word answered as answered.
Comes, let's go out
The learner initially said comes instead of come.
and watch the sun set today.
The learner omitted the word how and omitted in the word sets.
Said Romeo joyfully.
The learner mispronounced the word said as side.